I'm gonna want your feedback down below. Should we run this motor carbureted, or should we run it with like a Sniper EFI? Well, I'm back working on the S10 again today. I already got the heater fan and box, as well as the air conditioner setup that goes right there taken off. I was thinking of putting heat back on it. I don't know. I just don't want to deal with the extra weight. This is a drag and drive car, probably not going to need heat during the summer when we're doing drag and drive events. I don't plan on driving it during the winter. It will be street legal for a drag and drive car, but I don't plan on driving it in the winter. No heat, no air conditioning. I just don't want to deal with it. Don't want to deal with the extra weight. Don't want to deal with the loss of power. Don't want to deal with any of that. This is going to be a pretty straightforward build. Anyway, I am going to do some cleanup of the frame and some of the front suspension parts. What I don't get new, probably going to go ahead and media blast them and powder coat them, because I do want it looking presentable. Again, if you haven't caught on or caught it in other videos, we're going to fix the cab corners and rockers and stuff. So it's a good looking vehicle. But right now we need to get this heartbeat out. And well, it definitely ain't beating. So we need to get the heart out and give it a transplant. We've got it tore down. And now I'm going to finish tearing it down. I mean, these are pretty simple. It's a 97 Chevy S10. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't get this motor out today. I'd like there to be more in the video than getting the motor out, because there is not much to do right now to get it out. I'm by myself. I'm gonna rock and roll. The truck does sit low, so I probably will have to lift it up. My plan is to pull the engine and trans at the same time. Is it gonna be easy to do that? I don't know. It might be. I'll tell you what, it's probably gonna be easier to do that than it is gonna be to lift the truck and drop the trans from the bottom and everything. So we'll see. That plan can change, but let's get to it. I am gonna do something a little different this time around. Instead of just voiceovers on some of the work, I'm gonna go ahead and keep the mic on and just go ahead and do it. Some of the time lapse, I like it because I can listen to music. That's one of the things I enjoy when I'm working on cars, is listening to music. YouTube does not allow me to put licensed music up, so it's okay. I'm not complaining. That's just sometimes why you guys get a lot of time lapses. Okay, so right now I'm really just unplugging all of the stuff from the wiring harness to make sure that nothing's keeping the motor here. Nothing's going to be attached to it. I don't know what this is. Okay, there we go. Just a vacuum line. I still got to unhook these from the alternator, and then I probably am going to need to unhook the spark plugs. I got all of these other little stuff done. I'm going to have to go underneath. Definitely going to have to jack it up and go underneath. There's a couple of plugs and connectors there. I'm going to want your feedback down below. Should we run this motor carbureted, or should we run it with like a Sniper EFI? Kind of let me know. I was figuring go carbureted to start and then run the Sniper, but I kind of like the idea of the Sniper, especially since I want to run nitrous, and I believe with the Sniper and then the Nitrous XPress kit that you can get, you can time it, you know what I'm saying, and ramp it, and you can kind of work it all together. So that's, I kind of figure for tunability, especially on the track and then for driving and stuff, being a drag and drive vehicle, that it's probably going to be the best way to go. It is definitely a chunk of money, but I'm willing to work hard to invest into that. That way I got a better chance of getting the best performance out of the vehicle and the motor that I can. Let me know your thoughts below on what you think. Some are hardcore EFI fans, some are hardcore carbureted fans. I'm also working on some powder coating projects this weekend while I'm working on the truck. I might show you all a little bit of that. Next week is Thanksgiving, and I went ahead and took the day off, the day before Thanksgiving off, and then of course I have Thanksgiving off, and then I have the Friday after, as well as Saturday and Sunday. So I have 5 days to be able to really do some work on this and make some content. I've been scavenging online to see what I can go ahead and find. I'm actually looking to see if maybe, just maybe, there is a a 350 or a 383 stroker or something like that, because I already got the motor mounts and everything. So if I can find a motor that's already ready to throw in and running, I might go that route, because then I can get it, set it to the side. But I still, like I said, I have this stuff to block off. There's still work to do. Get the inside of this done, get it prepped for paint. There's definitely some work to do. So we may get the motor out and not even worry about putting the new one in or getting a new one for a minute. We'll focus on getting this stuff cleaned up and such like that. But I'm blabbing, and a lot of people don't like to watch that. So let's move on to the next thing. So I have to get under here and get a couple out, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how to disconnect this, which is right here behind this fan. I've only broke one connector so far. This one right back here somewhere. Only one connector broke. All of these have done pretty good in not breaking. So comment down below if you know, and I'll be looking online as well. I know that we can switch out this brake booster so it's a smaller one. I believe it was from a Sunfire or something. When they do big block swaps in the S10, you don't have any room because of the brake booster, so they get a smaller brake booster. I don't need it right now because it's only a 350 swap, but what if one day we decide to do a big block or something like that? It'd be nice to have the smaller one. And to me, if the brake lines are good, that's cool. But if we can upgrade the rest of the braking system, because I do want to have line lock on it and such like that. I know I can put it on with this, but I think the engine bay would look cleaner with a smaller brake booster, so that's what I want to do. Okay, so a quick update. Now, while it looks like I may not have gotten much done, I have. Come on over here. So we got the drive shaft out, and of course that's all some of the other stuff, but we did get the drive shaft out, so I'm excited about that. I got the bolt that bolts the transmission to the trans mount. I got that out. I have the driver's side of the trans mount unbolted. And if you come on in here, I went ahead and unbolted, I don't know if you can see it very well, but right in here I unbolted the exhaust from the manifold. So something that cracks me up and that was a serious pain is one of the studs had previously broken on the manifold. So instead of, pulling the stud out and putting in a new stud, they used this. Now, if you can imagine, this part went into the stud hole, and I actually didn't have any way to get anything, like not a socket, nothing. I had no way to get anything on that fitting right there. Surprisingly enough, I was able to unscrew it with my fingers enough to loosen it and then kind of wiggle it out of there and get it out of there with the pry bar. I have one exhaust hanger all the way in the back that I need to get to. I'm probably gonna have to jack up the back of the truck to get that. I have it on jack stands in the front. I don't really like putting jack stands in like the front and then jacking up the back, especially if I don't have two jack stands for the back. So I'm really a little bit nervous about that. I might try and squeeze under there and get it undone. Once that exhaust hanger is out, I can pull the exhaust out and get to the rest of the bolts on the passenger side to go ahead and pull off the trans mount on the passenger side. That will then allow me to start lowering the trans. I'll go ahead and get the old trusty Harbor Freight engine puller and get it hooked up and start to pull this bad boy out of here. And it'll be time to start getting it cleaned, start, doing things like welding up these holes, tearing apart the inside, getting the dash taken apart. I might use an aluminum dash, but I don't know. I know for sure I'm gonna pull all of the ducting out and try and just make it, as safe as possible. And again, I'm gonna weld those areas up by the firewall, get them sanded smooth, go ahead and get everything in there painted. I do have some tubular control arms, upper and lower control arms that I'm looking at Marketplace. I can actually pick those up pretty cheap, and I can go ahead and powder coat them so they look new. I'll probably go with fluorescent yellow. I call it green. It's like this color. It's green, but people call it fluorescent yellow. Anyway, I'm gonna do it like that kind of color, and then the frame and everything will be like a satin black more than likely, and then the control arms will do like that green, and then we'll probably do a few other parts a different color. Depending on which motor I do, I may go ahead and powder coat it. I don't know if I'm gonna go that far on the build, but we can see. I'm not gonna make it to sick week. It's in January, and I haven't even signed up. Even if I had the truck ready, I don't know. I like to take care of my family and have a lot of fun for Christmas. So I'll be honest, I don't know if the funds would be there to go racing. I'm gonna see if I can get you all some more video. While I'm doing some of this stuff, I just know that underneath the truck, pulling stuff out, it's not always the best view. It's not always lit up very well. I'm just trying to stay away from it, but let me know down below if you want me to show you that stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this motor out. I'd really like to get it out. As you can see here, I got the exhaust down from the hangers. I'm having troubles getting the bolts apart to take it apart at the flanges, so I just figured I would go ahead and cut it maybe into 2 or 3 pieces. So as I was cutting it there with this, because I don't have a Sawzall, it's a good thing I was wearing my PPE because I had a bit of a close call. But it's all good. Keep on moving. It didn't hit me in the face. I did have my eye protection on, but it didn't even hit me in the face, so that's good. Didn't hit anywhere close to my body, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this exhaust down. I went ahead and got all the hangers off of it and all that good stuff. Because the way it fits, I just couldn't get that part where it attaches to the manifold down. I guess the downpipe, whatever, it's not a turbo, so I don't know if it's still called that. Once I can get that section out, I can finish getting the bolts out, because right now, the exhaust is in the way of me getting the rest of the transmission mount bolts out over there on the passenger side. As soon as I get this cut out, which I'm probably gonna have to go to the hardware store and get some cutting discs, which the only reason I was using the cutting disc was because my battery went out for my Sawzall, and I don't have a metal Sawzall blade. So I was using a cutting disc, and it seems that one broke, and now I, for some reason, don't have another one. Well, I'm out, that's why. Anyway, so after looking around the shop, I was able to find another cutoff wheel. Didn't have to run to the store. After a couple of cuts, went ahead and got the rest of the exhaust out. I got all of the exhaust out completely now. Now I will have access to the bolts for the trans mount. I can go ahead and get that piece down. And I do have the motor mounts pretty much unbolted on one side. I didn't pull the bolt out. And I'm gonna go ahead and also get the engine puller hooked up to it. That way, when I do pull the bolts out, it's okay. But first I wanna go ahead and get the trans mount taken off, get the jack under there to go ahead and hold it up. Go ahead and get the puller set up. Get this sucker out, finally. 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 We're making progress. Well, a fella done got the bolts out for the motor mounts, and I got the exhaust out, which I believe I told you already. I got the engine hoist. I'm holding it up. If I jack it up, it pulls it up. I do still need to get everything taken care of with the transmission mount. That's my next step, but I believe everything's pretty much, well, everything's not pretty much unhooked. I got some wires here I got to unhook from the alternator still. I got the trans mount, but everything's set up, ready to pull. The motor's actually loose, which is a good thing. It's ready to go. And the trans is not even attached to the trans mount, but I do need the trans mount down so I can get the trans down at enough of an angle to get it up out of there. Probably going to have to work between the two, but put a jack under it so it can hold it at the right height as I slide it out, and then jack it up or lower it as I slide it out. I actually happen to position the jack stands perfectly to where I'm still able to pull this in just enough, and I'm still about an inch away from the jack stands. They do pass them, but it's about an inch gap or so on each side. So when I pull it out, I only got to pull it out an inch or two before I'm not even close to the jack stands either. So this should go pretty smoothly, even though it's me by myself. The big thing, I got to get the jack over, jack up the transmission, so when I do drop the trans mount, it doesn't just fall. And then I should be able to lower it a little bit and then start to pull it out after I get these wires unhooked. And as long as everything else is unhooked, should be able to go. I'm hoping here in just a little bit, we should have this thing out. I appreciate y'all riding along with me. It's just me. Some people can do this faster, some can't. I'm trying to make sure I remember certain things. I do remember that a whole new motor is going in here, so I'm trying to decide what I need, what I don't need, but I've never done a build like this before. The most I've done is built the top end of a motor on my 78 Chevy Monza 2+2. So I've done a lot of other mechanical stuff, but as far as like doing a build, that's it. Let's jump back to it, and I really want to get this out. I'm excited. It's so close, and it's the next step. Well, it's time for an update, and I mean, we're getting there. You can see it's kind of pulled up some. I had the transmission drop down, and then now it's kind of stuck up in there. I first tried to pull it with it all the way up on jack stands, and then I thought, hey, it might be a little bit easier if I lowered it down. So I lowered it down all the way. Couldn't get the engine hoist under it. So I went ahead and raised it back up a little bit so I can get the hoist up under the A-arms, the lower control arms. And now, like, the transmission's stuck up in its spot and I can't get it to drop down. So I don't know if I need to lift it all the way back up. I think I got it on video, but I was trying to do a little tugging and one of my bolts stripped one of the holes at the top. I didn't have it bolted very well, so I went ahead and took off the air conditioner so I can go ahead and kind of bolt it up, bolt the hoist up a little bit better. And I found a few little wires that I didn't have unhooked, but those weren't really keeping it in. I might have to look online. I don't actually know if you can pull this engine and trans together. I might be able to, but the fact that it's lowered so much, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done it before by myself. It's pretty tough. I'm not going to give up. I'm really, really close, but I just kind of got to look at it and figure out what to do. Maybe if you know anything about this, comment down below. I'll probably have it out by the time this video goes up because the plan is to really not put out this video till this motor's out. But maybe you guys can give me some tips for in the future, next time. I just wanted to give you all an update. I'm gonna see what I can do, see if I can finagle it around some. I got some parts to powder coat. I still haven't done those, so what I might do is take a break, media blast and powder coat these parts, and then, you know, kind of let my mind think, figure some stuff out, and then maybe I come back after doing that with a new plan and it works. Let's keep plugging away. The struggle's real. Probably could have had it out if I had 2 or 3 people on it. It'd have been out days ago, but that's not the point. The point is just getting it done. Right now, I'm enjoying working on it by myself. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with what I'm doing. I'll keep you guys updated when something happens. So another update. As you can see, I went ahead and got a couple of pieces like the intake and throttle body and stuff off the motor. It gives me a little bit more room for clearance. It also gives me a better spot to be able to bolt to. I ended up bending that stud because the motor was already crooked and I couldn't get it back in there straight to be able to get that out. So it is what it is. I'm pretty much ready to pull it. Should be bolted up well. I got all 4 on there and I think it's ready to go. We'll see. I'm gonna try this. Well, there you go. I did it. got it out. At least I'm not reusing it. I did break a few things. For the most part, I took everything apart that I needed to. I ended up needing to take the starter off, which I should have done from the get-go. With it lifted up, it almost was a little bit easier. There's a few other things that I should have thought about and should have taken off, but for the most part, everything's great. All the brake lines are still usable. All the fuel lines are still usable. Really, I mean, everything that I need to there is usable. That's good. I got all the wiring harness moved. There's a couple of other small things here that I'm gonna button up or cover up because I probably would like to media blast this. I know that I'm going to need to roll it out there, but I'm not gonna be able to fully blast the frame where all the, you know, the upper and lower control arms are. And if I take those off, I don't really have a way to roll it in and out. I don't have a cart or anything. I might have to maybe make a cart that I can lower the front end onto and that's got wheels and then be able to roll it out there. That way I can go ahead and media blast it, roll it back in, be able to lay down some primer on it. My son says that I should go ahead and pull the cab and do the whole frame. And I know that if I strip it down, I can, but I have no way to haul the whole frame up to my work where I can actually powder coat the whole frame. And if I'm gonna do the whole frame, I might as well take the extra time to powder coat it. And this is not really the build that I was planning on doing it on. If it works out that way, that'll be cool, but it's not necessarily anything that that I'm shooting for. I would have to arrange a trailer and a truck to pull that trailer. So I don't think I'm gonna do it. Who knows, it'll change. But anyway, I'm babbling and I got it out. Make sure you tune in next week when more things start happening to it, when it gets cleaned up, when it starts getting into paint, you know, doing a little bit of welding. And I need to get the rockers and the quarter panels ordered. I need to get the back bed off, get that trim off, start building, not just taking apart. You know, Austin told me yesterday, you're starting to build it. And I said, no, I'm still taking it apart. But you can't build it until you take it apart. I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for your support.